Hey guys, hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review and score on Depeche Mode's Songs of Faith and Devotion from 1993. Here's my original CD from 1993. This is a vinyl gatefold reissue from a few years ago. This is going to be an interesting review. I don't. I think I over when I think going into this album before I just finished listening to it, and it hasn't been that long since I've listened to it in full. Maybe in a year. But I don't listen to this album a lot because and you'll see why I don't listen to this album a lot in this review. But I don't necessarily have this album as high as a lot of other people do. I do like it a lot. I don't know how much a lot is, but it's maybe you have to stick around for the review, how much you think a lot means. But yeah, this is an important CD for me back in the day. Man, I was 17 years old when this came out. Of course, I had seen Depeche Mode at Dodger Stadium in 1990. I saw Songs of the Face of Ocean with my father I think it was my friend Chris, and I'm trying to think if my brother was there. I don't think it was, but we had really good seats. We were like probably at the Forum, probably right when it starts to come up, maybe like third or fourth row. So we had a good solid view. The opened up Forum. It sounded great in the Forum. It was nice. I mean, it was definitely a memorable concert. Like I mean, when you see stuff when you're 17 years old, for example, I mean, you're just going to be very, um, you don't have that much experience, with concerts and stuff like that, and you're just going to be really uh, blown away by it, and I was. It was a great show. I really liked the pacing of all the old and new music. I do have a kind of a theory of, once a band gets past by like 15 years or so, it's really hard to see them in concert because what they did 15 what they did when they're in year two is a lot different than what they sound like in year 25, right? I mean, not the songs aren't necessarily going to match very well. That's the issue I've had with Depeche Mode for a long time, and a lot of bands like that. There's not too many bands that can play stuff from the course of 20 years and it still sound good, especially when you're an electronic band. But not even also that. I mean, the Cure does a pretty good job of that because they've always done such a good job of mixing emotions through their music and even in their album, let alone per song. But if you play "Just Can't Get Enough," does it go with "I Feel You," for an example, or even something that's new? You know what I mean? So there's sometimes when you do it feels like a greatest hits concert a lot of times when you go see some bands, and Depeche Mode's been like that for me for quite a while, and I really haven't enjoyed. I wouldn't say enjoyed. I mean, I enjoy the Depeche Mode concerts, but I haven't really loved any since maybe Ultra, or actually maybe even Songs of Devotion, Faith and Devotion, because Ultra was just the Ultra Party was just 4 track. I mean, 4 or 5 songs when I went to see that in '97 at the Shrine in LA. That was kind of David Gahan's comeback after he almost committed suicide, or not suicide, but drug overdose. But this album, that concert was so great, and then later on, I saw him at the Exotic tour in '94 with my mom, and so yeah, I was a huge fan during that. This album was so. After Violator, I just looked forward to this album so much. I can remember calling up Billboard and seeing where this album spotted when it came out, and I was really hoping it could hit number one. But I think it was Def Leppard that was number one, and but it was still strong, really strong showing number two. I remember that time I used to look in the Billboard magazines and check and see where their songs were ranked and stuff like that, and it was all before the internet and stuff like that, and so I really look forward to this album a lot, and you know, yeah. So let me get into the review. I might as well just get into the review. I don't want to. I'll say a little bit more maybe at the end. But yeah, kind of, like I normally do, going to review the songs on a scale of 1 to 5. There's quarter stars in between each ranking, and then between each number, and then I give the album an overall. You can see my overall album scores in the notes here section if you want to see how I rank overall albums. When it comes to songs, I rank them, you know, 0.25, which is a quarter star, all the way up to 5 stars. One thing I'll say was if it's above a 4 star, it's excellent. 4.5, really 4 is a classic. Above 4 is a classic. Above 3.5 is really good. I'd say 3.5 is excellent. 2 is good. 1's okay. You know, so that's kind of my ranking on songs. I tend to have a little bit higher scale because this, as far as having a more positive scale, you would think that 1 out of 5 wouldn't be okay, but that's kind of my rating. I'm not going to be, maybe that would be a 1 through 10. I do a 1 through 100 for the album. So if I did an album that if I normally did albums that I didn't necessarily like, and you just like, hey, review this album, or I was just like, I'm gonna review this album. Yeah, my scale would be a lot different because I'm sure I would need some things in the lower range so I'd probably compact the top end, and probably like 5 would be perfect. 4 would be excellent. 5 would be really hard to give a score to that, but 4 would be excellent. 3 would be very good. 2 would be okay. 1 is below average, and anything under 1 is, not good at all. But I tend to have a, I tend to really work with the quarter ratings on the songs, and then go over the overall view and I kind of tally up the songs and see what they average, and then you know kind of kind of compare that with how I feel about the album. Is it good? Is it in between 70 and 75? Is it very good? I'm sorry, very good 70 to 75, 79, or is it, excellent 80 and above? And where is it in excellent? And then that helps me compare it eventually down the line once I have a lot more albums, to compare to after I score. Excuse me. So the first song, I Feel You. Um, I really like the echo. I don't mind the guitar, except that I know that it tells me that I Feel You is about to be playing. I'm not a huge fan of this song. When the bass finally comes in, it's full and it's nice. Sounds good. I like the guitar and the echo, especially on I think the 2/3 into it before it kind of goes to the last chorus. The fade out is all right. It's growing. It's kind of, in some ways, this is the first time I've really heard the studio version. Every time I see them live and they get to the song, I just, I'm kind of like, it's I Feel You, as probably most of the crowd does. For some reason, I think this song got into the top 40. I think it was like number 38 or something like that. I think since it's like that, and since it got in the top 40, like Depeche Mode feels like it's a hit. Like people want to hear it. I don't know if that's true. Like I don't know. Do you want to hear "I Feel You" live? I mean, every time they do it, I mean that one time when I think I can't remember which concert it was. I think it was the one of the last concerts they had. Like it was like changing colors, like yellow, pink, and different images of like the inner notes and stuff like that, like the pictures, and it felt like a iTunes video for a iPod or something. It was just like, I feel you. It's just but I listen to the album right now, the album version, and I think it's kind of growing on me a little bit. It might be the first time I actually played it in a long time. Um, I do really like the remixes. Here's the original cassette single. Um, I have two versions of this one. Both, I mean, I was a hardcore. I'm a hardcore physical fan. I'll buy stuff even if it has different artwork. The cassette version had all the good versions, so that was always a great one. But I wanted to have them on CD as well, and this one kind of the different binder, and then this one has the the fold out, which is cool. And then of course you have different remixes on this one, and this one also had the fold out, which was cool. Yeah, so I really liked the Brian Eno version on these. You know, some of the I thought the remixes were kind of cool, a little bit more atmospheric, and I think the Babylon mix was cool too. But I really liked yeah, the Throb mix was cool, and the one at the Helmet at the Helm mix with I feel it was the Brian Eno mix, but I really like the singles. You know, I can't say much for the original song; it's a little more rocky, but I do like the remixes. You know, but again, I'm not scoring the remixes, so I got it. I got it 2 3/4 songs. It's almost very good. I got it above good, but you know I can't put it in very good because I don't necessarily want to hear it, and I don't want to hear it live. I do respect it for a song. Um, I think the production is great on it. I think it's the production is great. I think Flood and Mark Stent and Steve Lyon do a great job engineering, and of course Alan Wilder in post production. They all do a good job with this of album, and especially on I Feel You. I think it's really strong, the production. Um, that could be a little high. Maybe 2.5 stars would probably be a little bit better, but I got it 2 3/4 stars. I mean, I think that's fair. I might it might be just, and again, I got to take my personal um, dislike for it and kind of set it aside and give it like a little bit more honest review, and that might be the additional 1/4 star that I gave it. Um, then you got Walking in My Shoes. So here's the CD single for Walking in My Shoes. And then, of course, here's the original well used, well used and abused maxi single with all the remixes. Here's kind of some of the cover artwork, like in the live show, which is cool. Even though this is put out before the live show. Live show, I'm pretty sure, because this came out in like April or March. You know, it's got the kind of imagery in it. Some really cool remixes in here, but you know, one of the definitely the best CD single with remixes of this album, that's for sure. The next two um, kind of big disappointments, and kind of if you guys know how great the Violator singles and remixes and B sides were, I mean, compare that to you know these ones, for example, Condemnation and In Your Room. Just this kind of spelled the end for the good Depeche Mode remixes and singles anymore. And not just singles as far as like good songs, but like, you know, remix packages, like with the remixes and the B sides and the alternate versions and stuff like that. It just kind of went downhill after, you know, halfway through this Songs of Faith and Devotion. Walking in My Shoes, just classic. What can you say? It's a great rock and electronic music mix. The album version I like a lot better than the single version or even the greatest hits version. Um, it's a little smoother. It's more stretched out. It's not as loud in some ways. The strings are good. Really like the melody. The really hook of the song is that melody that rings out and blends with the guitar, and that just kind of makes the song at the end. That kind of peak, the instrumental. It's really a timeless song, really. I mean, it's going on 31 years, and it's still an amazing song. I mean, the musical ending and the fade outs, all excellent. You know, I got it. It's the highest ranked song I've done so far, and I think this might be like my 15th review on the channel, and this is my highest ranked song, I believe. I got it 4.5 stars. I don't think I'm pretty. I know for a fact nothing passes that. There might have been one that equaled that, but 4.5 stars. Just I mean, Walking in My Shoes is just a classic song. Always a staple of them live. Always they always play it early in the set. I mean, it always does great live. It always it's a perfect blend of Martin and Dave. You just can't say enough great things about it. It's just a great song, and I love the video too. At first, back in the day when it came out, I was like, oh, this video is kind of weird, but I think it's kind of cool looking back on it now. I mean, maybe it's just because of the memories of the song and just because the song's so good. But what can you say? Walking in My Shoes. Next song, Condemnation. Quite a change, and there's definitely some brave changes in this album to go from something like Walking in My Shoes to Condemnation. Even though a lot of times you do go from a big song to a quiet song and kind of build it back up to another. That's kind of the flow of an album a lot of time. But gotta say, man, this is, to stick Condemnation right in there for what the song is. Um, you know, Dave hadn't sang too many songs, quiet songs up to that point. In some ways, um, I really like Little 15. I think he did a great job on Little 15, but there's not a lot. I mean, mostly Martin sings the quieter songs, right? This is kind of his coming out party, and Dave does a really good job. Martin, of course, gave him um, some good lyrics and something to sing to. I just have it in a good overall song. I don't think it's very good. It's very close though. I got it 2 3/4. Um, is it equal to I Feel You? Maybe I like Combination a little better, but I do respect I Feel You. And that's why I have them pretty equal, because neither of them I can say that I like very good. Neither of them I can say that are very good, in my opinion. And really the same thing with Mercy and You, the next song. I like the verses, the changes, the chorus is a little lacking, the bridge is solid, guitar's alright, the ending chorus goes on a little too long, in my opinion. I call it Policy of Truth 2.0, but it's more like Policy of Truth point 0.5, because it's not anywhere close to how good Policy of Truth is. But that was kind of, that's kind of one of my other gripe of. I have quite a few gripes of Depeche Mode live, especially, but when it comes to their album, they just, they keep wanting to repeat Violator, and we need a song that sounds like this, cohesiveness. We need a song that sounds like Policy of Truth here in the middle of the song. I mean, like, we need a quiet song. We need okay, this has to be a single. Like Mercy and You is kind of like a half version of Policy of Truth. Like, I mean, Mercy and You is I think if I'm not mistaken, like partly through the tour, or maybe it was the Exotic tour, they just dropped it off the set list because it just wasn't. It's just not a strong song. Excuse me. Comparatively to what this album needs to get it higher. Um, it's a good song. I can see why they put it on. They're probably like, "Oh, okay, this could be a single," but then even they bailed on that and even didn't even make it a single. I think I remember that year of like when they were coming out the singles. They're like, "I feel you." I was like, "Ah, shit." I can remember the first time I played it. Like everybody, when they heard first "I Feel You," it was like, that's not Depeche Mode, is it? I can remember like everybody, yeah, it was Depeche Mode. I was like, oh man. So then it was the single chorus, and then Walking in My Shoes did a great job. And then granted they wanted to bring in something a little different, but I mean, bringing out Condemnation after Walking in My Shoes, like I feel you kind of announced the direction of where the band was going, which is fine. Walking in My Shoes is the best song on the album. Okay, that makes a single. Great. Okay, both of them are top 40, right? We're gaining some steam a little bit, right? But no, they do Condemnation, which doesn't even chart because it's a slow song, and the media isn't gonna like a slow Depeche Mode song. And then they followed up with "In Your Room," which is a good song, but it's way too long for a single. "In Your Room" should have been the single. If it would have been a little bit better. "Rush" could have been the single if it was a little bit better. And I like Rush for different reasons. I like Rush more than Mercy and You, but it's just not. It's more of an alternative song than a top 40 song. But yeah, that really kind of killed the momentum of the album, and sure enough, that killed the momentum of Depeche Mode. Then they don't come out with an album for 4 years, and a great song like "It's No Good" barely makes the top 50. Just a just some poor choices on singles. That's what I have up in the my bad overview, but I mentioned it now just because we're at it. But yeah, just Mercy and You. Just I got 2 3/4 songs as well. I really can't decide between "I Feel You" Mercy and You and Condemnation, they're all good songs. I wouldn't say none of them are very good, but they just can't. And they're totally different songs. One's more rocky, one's more traditional. Maybe like and then one's like a Martin Gore song in a way. So it's like I just can't pick a favorite song out of those. And then you have then comes Judas to close out the first half of the album. It's sung well by Martin, good atmosphere. The Do You Want My Love? I think that goes on a little long towards the end, but it does have a nice kind of crescendo. I really like the darker instrumental ending at the end that goes on for like a minute. It kind of reminds me of the interludes in Violator, right? The kind of darker, like in between like Clean and Blue Dress, I think it was, or after Enjoy the Silence. But I like the strings. The beat is kind of cool. I got it 3 stars. I can say that one's very good. I really like the way Martin sings it. Um, so through the first album, it's when you take those songs and average it out, it's averaging a very good, overall. But I take that into account that 3 of the 5 songs have been good, but not very good. And then in your room, is obviously it anchors the second half of the album. It is one of the best choruses. I'm sure when everybody heard it first time, like, this is a great song. Like everybody, I was the same way. I'm sure there was nobody that played this album the first time and didn't think In Your Room was a great song. It has one of the best choruses that they've ever done. It's powerful. The key stabs are great atmosphere. The lyrics are really good. Again, I think this is David's kind of coming out party when it comes to singing in some ways. He sings it well. It's one of his best performances, I think, to that time. Powerful drum work. Really nice balance of dark and how it moves up through being sort of positive and atmospheric. It's almost like angelic and kind of ethereal in a way. Um, One thing about the album, and this is a side note, doesn't have anything to do with the album, but another live gripe. I don't like that they played the Zephyr mix, which comes from. I'm sorry, I forgot to show the Condemnation single. This is the Condemnation single. The Paris remix, yeah, Paris mix is pretty much like just an edit. And then you got some live songs, right? And then talk about lackluster single, right? So you have a remix of a down tempo song, which is kind of like 7-inch mix or single mix. Then you got a good mix of Rush. Okay, we're on the right track, right? Then Death's Door, which has anybody ever played Death's Door? It's whatever. And then you have another mix of Rush, which is good. And then you have 3 live songs: Enjoy the Silence, Halo, and Condemnation. Well, great. I get them live here. Great. And then I'm also gonna get a whole live album after this and have Songs of Faith and Devotion live, which was one of the dumbest things they ever did, was release a live album of the exact same track listing of the album that came out 8 months before. Well, that was dumb. Um, Here's In Your Room. The Zephyr mix is on here. Some lackluster remixes on here. The Higher Love Adrenaline remix is okay. The Jeep Rock mix of In Your Room, the Zephyr mix, and then the extended Zephyr mix. And then you got Policy of Truth live. Oh boy. In Your Room, the Apex mix, and then In Your Room live. Um, so just another single that was 8 songs worth of 2 good remixes in Rush and one okay one on Higher Love. Um, but where was that at? In Your Room. Yeah, they played the Zephyr mix every show. It's shorter. It's not. It lacks the power of the original. It's not a good remix. It's just it. They do it because it's a minute and a half shorter and it saves time, and that's the only reason why they do it. It doesn't have the power that the original does. The original does. They've been playing the Zephyr mix all the way back since like the Exciter tour. Maybe I'm sorry, after the Angel one. playing the Angel. They've been doing it ever since then. So they're really kind of annoying. That could be a really good moment to play that song, and they turn it into a part of their greatest hits tour. Like, it doesn't work with greatest hits. It needs its own space. That's what really bothers me about Depeche Mode. Not this is the last time I'll say something about their live show in this video, I promise. But can you imagine if Depeche Mode actually laid out a set that was meaningful? Can you imagine, like, clean into In Your Room, into Stripped, into In Your Room, and then, I mean, really, like, build a concert that flows well together. Don't just play, we gotta play 6 songs off the new album. Oh, we gotta play 8 of our favorites. Oh, that leaves about 6 songs that we can decide on. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll do this one, this one. Okay, you got 2 songs, Martin. Choose your 2 songs. You know what I mean? It's just so formulaic. It's so disappointing that Depeche Mode has become the Rolling Stones of the electronic live touring. God, it's just every time is the greatest hits tour. There's no flow. There's no cohesion. There's no surprises. That's the big thing. No surprises. The video, and then the video projections are no longer impactful. They're kind of verging on stupid. Like, you got somebody like Anton Corbijn, who's done so much great work, and he has put up something like Dogs during Enjoy the Silence, or I'm sorry, not Dogs, but that one's a different video. I think it was an Imprecious. Put people doing yoga poses on Enjoy the Silence, or I mean, just the videos are whack. They're so whack, and they can't even, like, oh, well, we filmed them to these videos and we've edited them to these videos. Well, you can't time stretch. You ever heard of time stretching of a video? That means that if you have a 4-minute song and you want to play a 5-minute song, it just slows down the video a little bit so it can meet that 5 minutes. It's called time stretching. It's not anything important. It's a backing video. But no, they got to do the exact. We did a video for that song, so we got to do the song there because that's where it fits. And it's just, watching Depeche Mode live is so boring. It's to the point where I didn't see them live, not only because the concert tickets are super expensive, but I went to setlist.fm. Okay, that's what they're playing. Peace. I'm not going to see Depeche Mode if they freaking play. Just can't get enough for the encore. I'll freaking walk out. And it's sad me saying that I didn't go to the last show when I went to the last 30 years, every tour. All right, rant away. Rant has been gone. Back to the album. In Your Room, 4 stars. Great song. Excellent. 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 Great song. Excellent. Great song. It really anchors the second half of the album. And then you have Get Right With Me. The worst song on the album. The beat is eh. The scratching, eh. It's kind of silly. It hasn't aged well. Have you ever noticed the scratching in Enjoy the Silence? Almost ruins the song. But it's such a great song it doesn't. But on the single, they put that dumb scratching in it. Man, that was dumb. Bad choice, Flood. Alan Wilder putting scratching over Depeche Mode. Dave sings it well. It's just not my ideal song. It doesn't take the album higher. It doesn't improve the album. It's different. It takes it to a different place in some ways. Doesn't make the album better. I got it 1 and 1.5 star. It's in between okay and good. It's like, I don't hate it. But it's not helping the album at all. I can remember when I was scoring this album, I was like, oh, okay, well, wow, In Your Room, okay, this is up here now. It's close to it's close. This review is going to be close in the 80s. No, get it right. We just kind of killed that. And then the last 3 songs help out the album for sure. Rush. I really like the aggressiveness of the beat, the way it's sung, the atmosphere, the keyboard. I really like the music. Excuse me. I think the quiet part is really unique, and then it goes back up and brings it in. I think it all works really well. And I think the great thing about this track is this type of track, this taking a chance on Rush and it failing could have been detrimental to this album, detrimental to their, I wouldn't say their career, but for this song not to sound dated, you know, like as aggressive it is because the way how good Dave really sings it and the powerful and the unique instrumentation and yeah, it's just it all works. And if this sounded dated, it would really and it does sound a little bit dated. Don't get me wrong, a little bit like, but it still works for me. I think it's a big sign of the song's strength that it can that a song like this that is that different for the band can still be good and not sounding very dated. The ending goes on a little long, perhaps, possibly. I got 3 1/4 songs, so above very good. One caress, the orchestra, it's all good, straightforward, concise, and strong. Martin does a great job there singing. I like the very last ending note, kind of comes up. It's a perfect little end to the song. Um, yeah, I mean, I think like everybody, we heard it on this. We heard it on "I Feel You" as the B side, and we were all jazzed like, "Wow, this is a good B side." And then they put it on the album. Like, okay, sorry, I already know another song on the album. That was kind of disappointing. I remember thinking that. But I got it 3 1/4 songs. I got it equal to Rush in its own way. You know, totally different songs, but totally I can't pick a favorite, and then I got them both above very good, 3 1/4 stars. Then the last song on the album, which I always thought "Higher Love" was a great song to be an intro during the concert with the thunder and the lightning and stuff. I think it was probably one of the best parts of the concert. I thought it was great. It's moody, atmosphere is great. I really like Dave singing during it. I got it a little bit higher than One Caress or Rush. I got it 3 1/2 stars. It's actually my third favorite song on the album, which might be a surprise to somebody. Walking in My Shoes is my favorite. In Your Room has to be second favorite. It's such a good song. And I got Higher Love third. And then rounding out, I got Rush and One Caress at 3 1/4 songs. So it's pretty smooth through the first half. It's a lot of good songs. Highlighting Walking in My Shoes. Um, then it kind of comes to a couple slow songs. Does it work for everybody? May or may not. For the most part, it's good. And then you get up to In Your Room, strong song, and then Get Right With Me kind of kills it there for a little bit, and then comes back with 3 strong songs to finish it out. But none of them are fantastic though. That's the thing. I mean, a Depeche Mode song with 2 4-star songs. I think of Violator, man, 5 4-star songs, maybe 6. Like Violator is just on another level. Like A World in My Eyes would have to be a 4-star. Enjoy Silence is a 4-star. Policy of Truth is a 4-star all day. All day. Clean, 4-star all day. Waiting for the Night is really close to start. And then you also even got Personal Jesus, which, you know, it almost feels like giving a 4-star for just for what it is, just how good a song it is. Even though it's not one of my favorites, I like the instrumental of it. I like the pump mix. If you know the pump mix, or the album version is way better than the because it adds the minute and a half or so of dance at the end of it than the single. But but yeah, just so that's just comparing apples to apples here. One song to the last. I mean, one album to the last album. That's why this album kind of hurts. Oh, the overall. So looking at the good of the album, right? The overall good. Some very good songs. I got what do I got? One because Judas I have 3 stars too. So I got two. I have what is it? I got 5 songs. Sorry, is that 4? three, four, four, right? Yeah, four. Okay, so I got two songs that are 4 star. I got four that are 3 star. Two, oh well, messing this up here. Three that are 2 star, and one that is 1 star. So the overall good. It's a very good song, of course. I think it's a good attempt at being more rocky, maybe more edgy, more in with the times. I think it's a fair attempt or a good attempt, not fair, excuse me. A good variety. Some people might think it has a good variety of songs, um, but are they necessarily your style favorite songs, or is it just good overall? But see, the songs really aren't there overall for me. But back to the good. I think David's singing's really strong. He's gotten really, I got to give it to him. He's become a better showman. He's become a better, even though it's consistent and kind of very, very, exact and very scripted. Like, like he does 3 turns every time during the song. He does 2 pirouettes this song. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so contrived and boring, but it's consistent. He wants to give a best show. He wants to give his best show and make it as good for everybody else. I get it, but where's the spontaneousness, like of a live show? Like, what I mean? It's like, there's another live gripe, and I said I wouldn't. I apologize. But I give it to David. He's gotten better over the years. The singing's gotten better. Um, but I wouldn't say it wasn't always there. Like Little 15 was a strong song. I really liked the way he sung Little 15. So he had it in him, and he's gotten better. But this album might be his best early sign that he could sing all these different styles and do it well. The engineering work is really strong. Flood, Mark Stent, Steve Lyon, Alan Wilder all do a good job. Flood and Alan Wilder really smooth out the post production. They do a great job in that. Um, then the bad, right? Some okay songs. Get Right With Me, Mercy and You. Those two kind of drag it down, in my opinion. Mercy and You isn't the potential to have a single, and it really needs a third strong song in here. For me to say Get a Higher Love is the best song. No, that should be like fifth or sixth because that's the ending song. It's the end of the album. It's a moody song. It's not even a pop song. It's like, when you look at Violator again, Clean and Waiting for the Night are great songs, but they're not even close to being singles. Mercy and You, it needs to be a single right there, but it can't. It's just not good enough. So, also one side note, if they would have put My Joy on this album, the B side to Walking in My Shoes, could that have done better in Mercy and You? I think when you look at the album, yeah, Mercy and You it feels like it could be a good song. So okay, do we take off Rush and put on My Joy? Maybe we put two songs that are sort of My Joy and Rush together and take off Get Right With Me. Could that, it wouldn't necessarily go up and down like they wanted to. It'd go Mercy and You and then Judas, build back up to In Your Room, yeah, and then Get Right With Me goes back down. So you could kind of bring it back up with My Joy after In Your Room, and then it would go right into Rush. It'd be great. You still got One Caress, a slow song coming up, and then a moody song on Higher Love. When you look at it, there's kind of a lot of moody songs on here. In Your Room, Judas, Condemnation, One Caress, Higher Love. There's like 5 of them. Half the album is moody, half the song is verging on rock and pop. I think My Joy. The reason why I know why My Joy isn't in it is because it runs out of steam a little bit. Even though I love the fade out, I love the song, I love the slide mix of it, which is the extended version especially. But they probably thought that it wasn't strong enough to put in the album, and that's of course that's why it didn't fit the album is because they didn't think that. But Mercy and You is not aging well in the album. I think in some ways, My Joy has gotten better. I like My Joy. I love the melody on it. I love the powerful singing. Yeah, there's not a lot to the words, but there's a lot of Depeche Mode songs that are lack a lot of words, But I think My Joy could have been a good addition to this album. But that's how difficult it was for them to make an album. When you think of like all the B sides to Violator, Sea of Sin and a couple of music interludes on Enjoy the Silence and Happiest Girl and Khalid, the techno song and yeah, there's I'm missing one. Well, Sea of Sin, but the B sides. I guess that's it. But here they only had one B side that wasn't on this album, and that was actually it was really none. Right? It was there. One Crest was on the album, so there's really no. Actually, I'm sorry. My Joy. I was just talking about My Joy is the only B side that came out on all of the four singles. I think that's a little disappointing. It would have been great to hear, but maybe that's all they could get out of the recording sessions with, because I know obviously it dragged on enough, but it's kind of strange to think they only had 11 songs out of this, meet the 10 on the album, and then one to meet a single, and something like Get Right With Me is on the album. Just, whatever. Yeah. So my overall is I still have it in the very good. When I take the 10 songs and I average out, it's a little bit above 3 point, almost 3.1 uh, at stars per song, and 3 is in the very good. So I have it at 74 out of 100. That's where I have. That's where I have the old kind of on the. I wouldn't say the lower side of very good because it's right. It's in the middle there. 74 is more in the middle than at the lower end of very good. But I mean, thankfully, there's two classic songs on there. One, just because of what it is in Your Room, and then the all-time classic for the band, Walking in My Shoes. I think the production kind of pulls it up. It's a well-paced album, time-wise. 10 songs, the time limit. Just I think maybe 2 songs. I think one single short and one good song short of being in the 80s and being a much stronger album, regardless of whether you like I Feel You or Condemnation or the direction of the band. If there would have been one more good single and one more strong song, I think you can end it with In Your Room, Rush, One Caress, and Higher Love, and have a really good second album. Second half to the album. If it wasn't for Get Right With Me, the second half would be stronger than the first half. And that's even including one of their best songs, Walking My Shoes. And I really like Judas. But, that's my thoughts on it, anyways. But yeah, just curious, what are your favorite 3 songs on Faith and Devotion? Of course, mine are Walking My Shoes, In Your Room, and Higher Love. But what would you rate this album out of 100? I'm curious to know your thoughts. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.